Yeah!
Check out these new chutes. Great job, Freddie. Oh, Jerry, you're looking a little thirsty. But don't worry, Zoe to the rescue. Oh, uh-oh. Too much water. That reminds me of a question I got from Nora.
How come sometimes there's too much water, but sometimes there's not enough water?
You're right. Some places get flooded and other places turn bone dry. I know why there wasn't enough water in here. Either Jerry drinks a lot of water or I forgot to water him. Yeah, I forgot to water him. And then I wasn't paying attention and I gave Jerry way too much. So to answer your question, I've come here to Science World to meet Brian, who knows a lot about water. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Zoe.
I've been wondering about water, like how there's too much and sometimes there's not enough.
Well, Zoe, the planet is over 70% water. In fact, there's more water on Earth than there is land. So we're going to look now about how water can move from one place to the other.
Cool.
One of the ways it does this is through evaporation. Big lakes and oceans, the water will heat up and travel up into the sky.
Oh, forming clouds.
Yeah. Safety first.
Thank you.
We're going to try the same thing using a little bit of rubbing alcohol. This evaporates very easily. Ready? 1.
Pumping air increases the pressure and heats up the gas. We're gonna release all that pressure when we pull out the nozzle. That makes the gas cool down fast and transforms it into tiny droplets of liquid, which form a cloud. Got it!
We let the pressure go, temperature goes down, and we have a cloud in a bottle.
Cool. Look at that.
That is awesome.
Same thing happens with real clouds in the air. When water warms up, it evaporates into a gas. When that vapor rises and reaches the sky, it cools down and turns into clouds, which are tiny droplets of water that always find their way back down to Earth. Speaking of that, Maddie has this question.
How does a flood happen?
Well, flood happens when you have too much water. That could be too much water that's built up behind a dam or a dike that's broken through, or it could be too much water coming down from the sky in a big storm. So Zoe, I've brought you a house and a beautiful lake here. Where would you like to place your house?
Let's place by the lake, because I like the lake.
It's true. A lot of people like to be close to the water. Of course, water also likes to flow down. I'm going to turn the water on.
All right.
All right, the water's starting to flow. We've got a gentle rainstorm up in the mountains starting to come down. Maybe a little bit of snow melting up there.
Oh no. Oh no! My house! My new carpet! My new book collection!
That is one soggy house there, Zoe.
I guess we'll have to find a better place for my home.
Sounds like a plan. One thing people can do to help protect houses from water is build dikes and water gates to redirect the water away from where you want it to go.
Let's try and see if my house will go right here.
So this time it's not moving at all. Of course, in big heavy rain, sometimes the dikes will overflow or even break.
Oh no! My house!
I hope you have insurance.
Well, even with the dikes here, I don't feel like my house is completely safe. Oh, this is a great place for my house.
Looks good, Zoe. Nice high ground, safe from a flood.
So the higher you are, the safer you are from a flood.
There's less water to flow through, that's for sure.
I have a question about floods.
Ah.
How high could a flood get?
Floods have been recorded as high as 6 meters.
Am I there yet?
Higher.
Am I there yet?
That's it, 6 meters.
Oh no! Whoa, I made it.
Nice job.
I have a question.
How do you get rid of a flood?
That's a great question. As the climate's changing, a lot of people are thinking more about how they can prepare themselves for a flood. In fact, here at Science World, we're looking at the water levels around us and realizing they could go up as much as 1 to 2 meters.
Well, then what do you do in a flood?
The main thing is to stop the water from coming in and dry out the areas that have been affected. This could be using big blowers, heaters. One of the main things is make sure you get all of the moisture out of carpets, furniture, walls, because you don't want any mold starting to grow inside. Everything has to be completely dry.
Well, thanks for the tips. I think it's time we tested them out.
Yeah.
My Great Challenge!
Today's challengers are Ophelia and Nick on Team Turbulence.
Team Turbulence!
And Cecilia and Louie on Team Wildwater.
Team Wildwater.
When I say go, I'm going to release the marble flood water, and your job is to swoop in and save the day by directing the flood away from your houses below. The team with the fewest marbles around their houses by the end of the challenge wins. Are you guys ready?
Yeah!
Okay. And go!
No, it's working. Come on. Go in here.
Challengers have two ways to stop the flood. Using their sandbags, they can divert the rush of the water marbles onto the other team's side or into the drain holes on the edges of the river.
Come on. Go in here.
Trying to push the marbles upstream is useless. They're only going to go back down. Water is really hard to stop.
Come on.
That's it, no more water. Judging by the number of marbles around the houses, it's clear that Team Turbulence won. Yay, Team Turbulence! Good job, guys. You fought the flood like superheroes.
Flows across the plains. It fills up all the drains. When there's too much water, it can really be a pain. When cold, it turns to ice, and we slide around like dice. There's snow that's fun to play in, but ice storms are less than nice. Oh yeah!
Next question. Why are there ice storms? Well, Leah, I checked, and this is what I found out. An ice storm is a storm of freezing rain that covers everything in a crunchy, slippery coating of ice. It happens when frozen rain falls through warm air, which melts it, before hitting the cold ground, which freezes it. This forms a layer of ice on trees, cars, a sidewalk, everything. That's why it's always important to check your weather forecast so you can be prepared for anything. But what if you can't look up the forecast? That reminds me.
How do animals survive in a wild weather?
Oh no, a dog can't look up the weather. A cat can't check the forecast. A moose doesn't have a weather app. An elephant can't look up the temperature. Who warns the porcupines and the monkeys?
You're gonna make my head explode!
Whew. Some people think animals have a sixth sense because of all the crazy, cool ways they predict and survive wild weather. But they're just way more observant than us. Animals tune into the world while we humans have trouble paying attention. Bees sense changes in the air pressure that often lead to rain, so they know exactly when to head inside. Sharks notice big temperature changes in the ocean, meaning the storm's coming, and swim to safety. Most land animals go somewhere high and safe in a water disaster, like this clever dog who survived a flood by swimming up to the roof. Before a tsunami, elephants sense movements in the earth and run to higher ground, trumpeting and warning each other. I wish I had a built-in trumpet to warn people of tsunamis. Veronica has a question about tsunamis.
How do tsunamis start?
Flat Earth Corner!
Konnichiwa, people. Did you know the word tsunami is Japanese? It's from Tsu, meaning harbor, and Nami, meaning wave. Here in 7th century of Japan, we believe Namazu, a giant catfish, lashed its tail, making a giant wave. Oh, come on. We know now, rather than a giant fish, tsunamis are caused by natural events, like landslides, volcanoes, glaciers breaking, and earthquakes. Whoa! 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 I found out that when the Earth moves, water moves to fill the gaps.
In a powerful earthquake, the earth under the ocean can be lifted or dropped, which causes gaps. The water above it rises and makes giant waves across the ocean. As the water moves closer to shore, waves get bigger. A tsunami can move as fast as 1,000 kilometers an hour. That's faster than a jet plane. The experiment!
My friends made a tsunami simulation. Hi, guys.
Hey, Zoe.
Hey, Zoe.
So how do you make your tsunami?
First, we use newspaper, dirt, and sand to build our beach.
Then we add some houses and trees to make it more realistic.
Time for the sand.
Do you like beaches?
Of course.
The highest tsunami wave ever recorded was in Alaska. Now for the water.
I can't wait.
It was 524 meters, about as high as the CN Tower.
Now it's time for the big wave. 3, 2, 1.
Millions of trees were uprooted and swept away. The powerful wave washes up on shore, and as it flows back out, it pulls just about everything along with it. Yikes. Thanks, guys.
Bye, Zoe.
Bye, Zoe.
What a crazy place the ocean is. And I'm not the only one who thinks so.
Are there volcanoes underwater?
Well, Emily, I found out that deep beneath the waves, there are about 1 million volcanoes. That's more volcanoes underwater than above. Here's how to make your own.
First, we start with cold water, representing the ocean, then a bowl of hot water, representing the lava-filled volcano. So, we have this little cup, and we're gonna fill it with warm water. Next, we put some red food coloring to make it more lava-y. Stir it up. Then, we put the tin foil on, and you wanna make it as tight as you can. Next, we poke a hole, representing the opening of the volcano.
Whoa. Unlike on land, when a volcano erupts underwater, lava doesn't shoot out because there's so much ocean weighing it down. So you can be in a boat over an erupting volcano and never even know it was there.
Don't worry, little volcano. We know you're there. There are a lot of things happening in, under, and even over the ocean. That reminds me of a question I got from Sophia.
How do hurricanes form?
Hurricanes are pretty picky. To form, the conditions have to be just right. First, they like warm ocean water. Next, we need a lot of wind. Clouds pull water from the ocean up, which makes a tube of super speedy air. This makes a hurricane. Hurricanes are water-moving machines. They suck up water from one part of the planet, and spit it somewhere else, sometimes making floods.
Today, weather scientists make an alphabetical list for the year's coming hurricanes. Xena, York, Zelda, but no Zoe. Phew.
Next question.
How do you respond to hurricanes? To find out more about hurricanes called Sammy or Rosie or even Elaine, I call my special guest, and Dr. Kirsten's her name.
Hi, Zoe.
Hi, Dr. Kirsten. I asked you to come over to be on my show, not move in.
Well, I came prepared for a hurricane.
There's gonna be a hurricane?
No, the forecast is clear. but it's good to be prepared.
So Amelia wants to know how to respond to hurricanes. That's kind of your job, right?
That is my job. In fact, my job is not only to respond to hurricanes, but to respond to natural disasters or humanitarian emergencies all over the world.
Wow.
I have some pictures of the places I've been. There's one from Haiti, the Philippines. Both countries were affected by earthquakes and hurricanes.
That's crazy.
Sudan, which is affected by drought.
So it must be hard working in natural disasters.
You know what? It is tough because you don't have the luxuries that you have in your own home. So you have to bring everything for yourself. So it's kind of like camping in a way. We bring our own sleeping mats and, of course, our own sleeping blankets or sleeping bags. In some of these countries that are affected by hurricanes and a lot of water, there are mosquito breeding grounds, which can cause disease. So it's important to bring our own mosquito nets. That keeps us safe from getting mosquito-borne illness at night. Something else that we bring is our own food, because in a lot of these places, people don't have enough. So this is called a ready-to-eat meal. It's one prepackaged, dehydrated meal. All you need to do is reheat or add water, and you're ready to go.
You even bring toilet paper?
Yes, we do. Often in these places, the toilets have been destroyed or they don't work. And so we bring our own toilet paper, but we also bring this system called a pee-poo bag. So these bags are biodegradable and they can be used for human excrement, feces, or urine. And you put your paper inside, wrap it up, and you put it into a pile, and that it can be used for fertilizer for future agricultural initiatives.
That's weird.
It's practical, doesn't leave any waste behind. We also need to bring our own ways to make water clean. In these places where there's a lot of water, like in a hurricane, all the water gets mixed together, so often it's not safe to drink.
Yeah.
And so what we often do is bring these kinds of devices where we can actually put a filter into dirty water.
Wow.
And it filters out all of the bad stuff, and you can pump your own water that's safe to drink, just like that.
Wow. This is a lot of stuff you bring to a disaster. I'm gonna ask my friends what they would bring.
Ask a friend. Hey guys, what else would you bring if you already had the essentials?
I would gather all my construction blocks, bring them with me, and then grab my tablet.
My piggy bank and my stuffed animals. Because you can't bring your bed.
A hockey stick and a hockey puck. I would bring my favorite doll because I can't sleep without it. My teddy bear. It would be a hard choice to decide between my stuffed monkey and my parents. Because I love my stuffed monkey and I love my parents. Yeah, and I would bring a swimming suit to swim.
It seems like there's been a lot more water disasters lately.
You're right, and that's largely due to climate change. And, you know, sometimes not having water can be just as much of a disaster as having too much water. Here's a picture of Lake Chad, which is in North Africa, and it's only 10% of its original size. So you can see how this area that used to be all filled with water is now shrunken down to a fraction of what it originally was.
Dr. Kirsten told me that with climate change, there's been less rain and more drought. Also, there are a lot more people living around Lake Chad, so more people use up the water resources. Same thing is happening in the Aral Sea. Look at how it shrunk in only 25 years. A big part of it is now a desert. People need to be really careful about using water.
You know, in Canada, it's like we use 100 of these buckets of water per person for eating and cooking and washing a day. But in some of the places I've visited, people only get 3 of these buckets a day. So you can imagine how much difference that is and how much more water we use.
Well, thanks for helping me find stuff out.
Oh, you're welcome, Zoe.
Not bad, Jerry. Oh, you really bounced back from the flood. Still looking good, Freddie. I think I'm ready to answer the question that inspired today's show.
How come sometimes there's too much water, but sometimes there's not enough water?
The big answer is Water moves. That's right. Water moves around the Earth all the time, but natural disasters make it move even more.
Tsunamis push seawater onto land. Hurricanes suck water from the ocean and spit it somewhere else. Snow melts, and all these things put water where we don't want it. Then there are the places we'd like there to be water, but there isn't. Sometimes this is normal. But other times, drought and other water disasters are made by us.
That's right. I mean you and me. But if we're prepared for a natural disaster, it won't be so disastrous. I hear a storm coming.
It's pouring! Quick, gotta get an emergency bag ready just in case. Hey, where are the pee-poo bags?
I'm in this watery world because of a question from Amelie.
Will water ever be extinct?
I don't know, Amelie, but I've been thinking about water. Mainly because a water line broke in my street, so they turned my water off. But before they did, I managed to fill up all these containers. Hopefully by the time they turn the water back on, I'll be able to answer your question. Now here's a question from Vanessa.
How come we can't talk or breathe underwater?
Why can't we talk or breathe underwater? Well, Vanessa, I found out for you. When we talk, our voice makes sound vibrations. What I'm trying to say is that we don't hear very well underwater because our eardrums need to vibrate, but underwater they don't vibrate as well. And the reason we can't breathe underwater is that while both air and water have oxygen, our lungs can't get oxygen from the water, and fish's gills can't get oxygen from the air. But wouldn't it be cool if you could breathe in both places? Now here's a question from Luisha.
Why do people need to have water?
If you're a fish, then you need it for breathing and living in. But humans use water for lots of things. We need to drink water because most of our body is made up of it. About this much. Hey, whoa, how did he get in there? Anyway, I feel a song coming on. H2O, 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 H2O. Well, there's water sloshing round in you and me. It carries nutrients to our whole body. It lubricates our joints and dissolves our food. Carries off our waste so we stay feeling good. We lose it when we poop and sweat and also when we pee. So we need this much water daily. H2O, 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 H2O. We use water to have fun too, like swimming and playing a whole bunch of sports. And most of all, we use it to grow food. Vegetables, fruits, and farm animals all need clean, fresh water. We also use water to stay clean. To cook, to make electricity, to paint, to heat our houses, to travel, to drink, even for flying. Water's everywhere, in everything. You're gonna make my head explode. Water's also nice in a cool cloth after your head explodes. But I realize that because it's so precious, we have to use it wisely. So, Luisha, your question inspired me to go and get some... street smarts. What I want to know is, who are the biggest water wasters in your home?
My sister, because she goes into the bathroom to do her makeup, but she has the tap running, and she doesn't need the tap running.
Me, because when I water the garden, I goof off with the hose instead. Probably me, because sometimes I leave the water on while I'm brushing my teeth. Me, because when I take a shower, I keep it on the hot and I'm in there for 20 minutes.
Probably me and my brother, because sometimes in the summer we'll use our slip and slide. And then afterwards we'll go inside to dry off and have a snack. We'll just leave it running, and that wastes a lot of water.
Looks like we should all stop wasting water. All we gotta do is turn off the tap. Now here's a helpful question from Matthew.
How does water beat fire?
To find out why water beats fire, I've come here to meet firefighter Mark Messier.
Hi, Harrison. Welcome to Station 36. Harrison, we've got a fire to go to. Let's go. We gotta go.
Let's go. Tell me you were taking me to a real fire?
This is the training center. This is where we train firefighters, so we're going to train you to put the fire out. Okay, so take the nozzle.
Okay.
Take some hose. Here, you have one hand on there, one hand on here.
Yeah.
When it's full, you go ahead and open it up a little bit. Now we got water.
Okay.
That's it. Spray the whole thing, go around in circles if you want. What we can do is we can roll around to the other side, make sure we get all the whole side. That's it. We want to cool down the fuel and that will put the fire out. There you go. Now we can stop, see if there's any more smoke.
A little bit on the hay
It's
there.
still smoldering a little bit,
top,
and that's normal.
To answer Matthew's question, how did the water beat the fire?
So basically, when we look at a fire, it's like a triangle. You need fuel, you need heat, and you need oxygen in order to have a fire. By eliminating any one of those three, the fire goes out. So what did we do here?
Well, let's see. We didn't remove the fuel. The wood's still there. We didn't remove the oxygen. The air is still all around us. We took the water, which eliminated the heat.
That's correct.
And that put out the fire.
That's exactly what happened.
Nice.
Good job.
Now we're gonna try to put out another kind of fire, a grease fire.
We can't extinguish all fires with water, because some fires will actually make it quite dangerous if we use water. Watch this.
Oh, that looks really dangerous.
It is. When people have a grease fire in their kitchen, the best thing for them to do is just to get out of the house and call 911 as soon as they can.
Right. Well, I'm sure there's some other way to put this fire out.
Yes, there is, by removing the oxygen. So what we're going to use is a carbon dioxide extinguisher.
Okay.
And you're going to put out the fire.
Awesome. Carbon dioxide is the same gas that makes fizzy drinks fizzy.
All right, so you ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay, let's go.
Ready? Because it doesn't burn and is heavier than air, it sticks to the base of the fire and pushes the oxygen away. Whoa, that was difficult to put that one out.
No, but you managed to do it. So when we look at our fire triangle, we have heat, oxygen, and fuel. What did you do here?
We sprayed it with the carbon dioxide, which got rid of the oxygen.
That's correct. We displaced the oxygen, so the fire has to go out.
Nice.
Good job. Okay, here we're going to have a propane fire. Now, we can't put this out with water. However, we'll use water to keep the tanks cool, and we'll use it as a shield so we can get close enough to turn the fuel off.
Oh, that's like the last part of the triangle. You just have to eliminate the fuel.
Exactly, and you're the one who's going to be turning it off.
Nice. Uh-oh. You have got to be kidding. To put that out, I'm going to need some special safety equipment.
Okay, now there's some clips back here. We're going to tighten.
Oh, like that.
Now breathe. Okay? I checked you. I want to make sure I see no exposed skin. Something goes wrong, we need to make sure that you're covered. Let's do this.
The gas leaking out of those tanks is on fire. The firemen will hose it off to make it cool enough to touch. My job is to turn off the valve and stop the flow of gas. But first, we have to get closer. That's the valve I have to turn off. I did it! Fire's out. Whew, that was hot. Thanks so much for being on my show.
Hey, no problem. Thanks anytime for coming, but you never asked me the one question. How do we cool down after it's really hot?
How do we cool down after it's hot?
Well, you really want to know?
Yeah. I guess that's a pretty good way to cool down. Here's another question that's all wet.
Why is the water clear, but the ocean blue?
Yeah, what gives? This glass of water doesn't have any color in it. Or does it? To help me find out... She knows about water, and she promised not to dump it on me. Please welcome Roxanne Moranger.
Hi, Harrison. Today we're going to talk about water.
All right, but you're not going to dump that on me, are you?
No, I'm not a firefighter.
So this is clear water, but I was hoping you could bring blue water to help me find the answer to the question.
Actually, all water is blue. You got to think of the sun sending down all its light like a rainbow into the ocean, but the only color that's actually being reflected from the water is blue, and that's why the ocean is blue.
So I guess you need a lot of water, like a lake or the ocean, to see the blue. Just one glass isn't enough.
Absolutely.
But what about all these colors, like this one?
Oh, that one, that's Lake Rotorua in New Zealand. It's covered in little tiny microscopic plants called algae that are green, and they're reflecting the green color.
Right, so that's why it's green, it reflects the green light. What about this one?
Oh, isn't that one pretty? That one's Lake Hillier. It's in Australia. It's very, very, very salty. It's like 10 times saltier than the ocean. And the little tiny microscopic plants growing in this lake actually reflect the colors more like orange and red.
So it ends up being pink with the salt and stuff combined?
Exactly.
Okay, and what about this one? It's black.
This lake is actually on top of a volcano. The water is coming in from underneath, and what's happening is it's gathering all the minerals from the rock.
Right.
And because it's a volcano, the rock is really black and minerally.
Right, from like ash and stuff.
Exactly, and so that's why it gets this black color.
Right, well, I have one more. It's rainbow.
Oh, Harrison, you're such a joker.
Okay, so what about this water? It's green. Is that because of the algae you mentioned earlier?
Absolutely.
Well, let's take a look at this with my super zoom-o-matic.
Oh, cool. So algae are little tiny microscopic plants. So you have to think of them as being like leaves of a tree, but they're really, really tiny. You can only see them with a microscope or your super zoom-o-matic. And they're the ones that are capturing the sunlight's energy and producing the food that all the animals living in water rely on to eat.
Right, and what about this water? It's all brown.
Yeah, that water is swamp water.
Oh, it smells horrible.
I know. Well, what happens is swamps are characteristic of a lot of things coming into it and dying. And as they die, they get all broken down and the color becomes brown.
Well, I wouldn't want to drink that. And Devin had a question about that.
How can you make river water safe to drink?
Some rivers are actually safe to drink right away, but most rivers you should take some precautionary treatment before drinking them. I have my filtration setup that I use when I want to go and study lakes.
Right.
And what we're going to do is we're going to pour a little bit of this water, which looks relatively clear. It has a little tinge of green.
Kind of green there.
Yeah, I wouldn't drink that directly,
Yeah.
so let's remove some stuff. Okay, so pour it in there. Let's get the filter pump going. And what I have in here is a little fine mesh filter that is capturing all the particles. So let's stop that. And let's take a look.
Whoa, it's all green.
That's the algae being caught up. Now, another way to make water safe is by boiling the water.
Boiling water, how does that help?
Well, you get the water up to such a high temperature that all the microorganisms or bacteria die.
Right,
So,
and then it's safe to drink.
Then it's safe to drink. So would you like to kill some bacteria?
Sure.
Let's go for it. So Harrison, the river water is now boiled, and now I'm going to make tea. And tea is actually going to explain why that swamp water we have over there is turning brown, because tea...
it's brown.
That's right. Tea are just dead leaves.
Just like there's dead leaves in swamp water, dead leaves make tea.
Absolutely. Would you like a cup of tea?
Oh, why, yes. A cup of dead leaves would be wonderful.
My pleasure.
Smashing. This one smells much better. Thanks for being on my show.
My pleasure, Harrison.
Now here's a question from Mia.
How does rain come down from the clouds?
The Flat Earth Corner! Hey, farmers. Are your crops brown because it hasn't rained in months? Are your animals thirsty? Do you not have any water? No problem. Give me all your money, and I'll make it rain with this Rain-O-Matic air cannon. Why, this is no ordinary cannon. What a bargain! Less than 100 years ago, people believed there were rainmakers that could actually make it rain. It didn't work. Serious scientists tried it too, with a process called seeding clouds, but that didn't really work either. If there's no moisture up in the air, then you can't make it rain. Simple as that. Here's the real way rain falls from the clouds. The sun heats water in the ocean's rivers and lakes. The tiny droplets evaporate and rise up in the sky to form clouds. If enough water gathers up there, it gets too crowded for all that water, and it falls back down to Earth, starting the cycle all over again. But rain doesn't fall evenly all across the world, as Evan's question points out.
How come some countries in the world don't have that much water, yet most of the world is filled with water?
Most of our planet is covered by water. That's why it looks blue when you see it from space. So it seems like there should be enough water for every country in the world. But here's the thing. Let's say this is the entire amount of water that's in the world right now. Nearly all of it would be salt water in oceans. We can't live by drinking salt water. Our bodies can't take that much salt, and we can't use salt water to grow crops or raise animals either. So how much is left of fresh water, the stuff we use for farming and drinking? Only about this much. But there's a catch. A lot of that fresh water is locked up in icebergs and glaciers. And what's left for us out of all the water in the world is about this much. I'm starting to see why some countries have less water than others. So because water isn't spread out evenly in the world, and some people have to work really hard to get their water, that gives me an idea for... My Great Challenge! Today's challenge might get very messy and very wet. And today's challengers are Michaela.
You're going down.
And Sam.
All right.
All right. In North America, each person uses this much water every day. That's for drinking, washing our clothes or cars, and watering the lawns.
It's crazy.
What if I told you you have to carry that much water on your head?
Whoa.
Watch this. People in some parts of the world spend as much as 4 hours a day carrying water from wells to their homes. Some people get so good, they don't even have to hold on to their bucket. As a matter of fact, that's today's challenge. You'll have this bucket, and you have to dunk it into this well, get as much water as you can, and then put it on your head and walk all the way to those jugs over there without spilling it. You'll have 2 minutes, and the one that fills the jug up the most will be the winner.
Okay.
But there's a catch. You cannot touch the bucket while it's on your head. If you do, you'll have to restart back over here.
What's this for?
This is to help balance the bucket on your head. Are you guys ready? Set, go! Don't touch the bucket.
Oh yeah.
There's one, there's one. Going for bucket number 2. Oh, come back, come back. Oh, let go of the bucket. Oh no! Make sure to let go of the bucket right before you start marking. They each have 1 bucket right now in their jugs, but let go of the bucket. Okay, okay. Oh, Michaela's almost there. Yeah. We have about a minute left. Oh, look at that, speed run. Michaela's going for her 3rd bucket, and so is Sam. Oh, they're tied right now. Sam's getting ahead. Oh! This is a close race. Oh! 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, time's up. All right, let's see who the winner is. So it looks like Sam has about 2.5 liters of water, And Michaela, 3 liters. You're the winner.
Oh yeah, I told you you're going down.
You really did.
What was the hardest part of the challenge?
Well, it was kind of keeping the water on your head because like you're trying to run and it's a race, so it's hard to keep it on your head.
It was hard to put the right amount of water because if it's too heavy, it'll tip over, and if it's too light, it'll tip over too because there's not enough weight on your head.
So would you like to carry that much water on your head for 4 hours every day?
No.
Not really.
Really makes you think about not wasting water, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks for being on my great challenge and helping me find stuff out.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
People aren't the only living things that have to worry about how much water they use. Here's a question from Angela.
How does a cactus produce water when there is no water in the desert?
I checked, and here's what I found out. These cactuses manage to live in deserts where other plants would die because there's not enough water. Cactuses do it by storing water and using it very carefully. This cactus doesn't have any leaves, so it doesn't lose water through them like other plants do. But the cactus can't make any water. It can only store water. So that brings me back to the question that started me on this watery quest.
Will water ever be extinct?
The big answer is yes and no. There's lots of water around, but not all are in forms that we can use. All of the water that's on Earth has been here since the Earth was formed. There's no new water being made. So even though there's a lot of water, we still have to conserve it and make sure it's clean, because there's only so much of it. Hey, sounds like my water's back on. Guess I won't have to break you open after all. Ow! I wasn't actually gonna break you open. Thanks for watching Finding Stuff Out. Ow! I don't even like cactus water. Ow!
There's a crazy thunderstorm outside right now. And there goes the power. Which is totally okay because I'm not afraid of the dark, like, at all. I wish I could light up like these glowing stars. I could be my own nightlight, and then the darkness wouldn't get me. That is if I were afraid of the dark, which I'm definitely not. Hey, speaking of being my own nightlight, here's a great question I got from Aiden.
If fireflies glow in the dark, why can't we?
Yeah, why can't we glow like a firefly? I've never actually tried to glow. Maybe I just have to concentrate. Oh, nothing's glowing. Why can't we make our own light like fireflies?
Or like comets? Or lightning? I don't even know how we make electric lights.
But maybe your questions about things that light up will help me find an answer by the end of the show. A good place to start is to find out more about creatures that know how to glow. Here's another question about fireflies. This one's from Sean.
Why do fireflies' butts glow?
I checked, and I found out that fireflies' butts light up for one main reason: romance.
I found out that fireflies have 2 special chemicals in their bodies, and when they mix together, they create light, kind of like a glow stick.
They can control these chemicals to turn their light on and off whenever they want.
Different kinds of fireflies can make yellow, green, orange, or even blue light. They actually talk to each other with patterns of flashes from their butts, like secret codes. Yoo-hoo! The male fireflies flash a message to say,
Hey, I'm a certain type of firefly, and I'm going to tell you a little more about myself. And if a female likes what she's seeing,
they'll flash back. Then the male follows her flashes and flies over to meet her.
How romantic.
What a great way to find each other in the dark. Actually, they're not just sending sappy messages. Their flashes can also warn hungry predators to stay away because they taste really bad.
We might not be able to glow, but we can use lights to communicate like fireflies do. Ooh, I bet my friends know some ways that we use lights.
Ask a friend.
A police car has a red light on top, which says get out of the way.
Lighthouses shine light on the rocks, then the ships could see the rocks and then they would turn back.
Like when we're driving and we see the light says green, red, and yellow.
If you flash lights in specific ways, like turn it off and on, I think it can be Morse code.
Holy moly, You're right. We use flashing lights to communicate all the time. Hey, wouldn't it be funny if we did all that with our butts?
You know, just like fireflies.
It's the police. Come out with your hands up. If you could make any part of you light up like a firefly's butt, what would it be?
It would be my wrist, probably my nose.
Somewhere on my face, like my eyes, my nose, or my mouth.
My nails for like Halloween parties and stuff. I think I would want my head to glow so people can see my face.
Ooh, yeah. You could be a ghostly floating head in the dark. Ooh. This next question is from William. Ooh.
Do some fish glow in the dark?
Do some fish glow in the dark? Well, I checked. And on land, there aren't too many animals that can make their own light. But underwater, it's a different story.
To find out more, I swam to the darkest depths of the ocean. Not really. I'm actually in the very dark laboratory of Dr. David Morse, a biologist who specializes in glowing sea creatures. Whoa, what is that?
This is a flask of dinoflagellates.
Huh, it glows.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Zoe.
That looks like plain old water in there. How come it was glowing?
Well, it's not plain old water. It's actually full of creatures, and they're really amazing because they produce their own light.
I don't see any creatures.
Well, they are so small, you actually need a microscope to see them.
Wow. Incredible. But why do you have to stir them up to make them glow?
They're sensitive to movement, like somebody swimming in the ocean or a predator swimming after them and trying to eat them. And their response to that movement is to give off a flash of light. Either to scare away those predators or to attract predators of the predators.
They use the light to communicate to the predators of their predators?
That's right, but any movement of the water will make them give off light. There are places where the beaches glow at night with the waves, and the water lights up. It's really beautiful.
Amazing. Can I see one close up?
Sure.
Wow. All those creatures were in that water?
Yes, and they even have tails to help them swim.
They're so cute. How do they make that light?
The same way that fireflies do. They burn a molecule called luciferin, and that produces the light.
Cool. Are there any kinds of fish that use light to communicate?
Lots of them. In fact, most of the fish that live in the bottom of the sea are bioluminescent.
Dr. Morris tells me that bioluminescence is the chemical reaction that makes some creatures produce their own light.
It's very vast and dark in the deep sea, so the creatures there use light to find and signal their mates or to lure in their prey.
Cool.
Did you know that some animals can actually scare off their predators with bursts of light? And others can hide by lighting up their bellies to perfectly match the light coming down from above, so their predators can't see their silhouettes.
Which way did he go?
Holy cow. There are so many fish and other sea creatures that can glow in amazing ways. Hey, can I keep some dinoflagellates as pets?
Sure you can. I put some in this tube for you. All you have to do is put them in the sunlight every day, and then they'll light up at night.
Cool. I'm so excited. I'm going to name them all.
I should tell you there's probably about 1 million in there.
1 million? Now I have to think of 1 million names. Okay, I'll name you Sparky, you Twinkle Toes, you Lightning, you Thunder.
This could take a while.
You Twilight. Boy, I'm going to have to think of a lot of names. Meanwhile, here's another question about glowing animals from Deborah.
How come a neon fish will glow at night when you shine a bright light at them?
Well, Deborah, I checked. And some animals don't make their own light, but they're really good at reflecting it.
Neon fish have crystals in the skin underneath their scales that reflect light. Kind of like the reflector on your bike. But without light, you can't see them.
And check this out. Some fish reflect light in an extra cool way by changing color. It's called bioluminescence. These fish live in the deep, dark ocean, where only blue light gets through. When that blue light hits them, it's reflected as green or red light. That's because bioluminescent fish have special colored lenses in their eyes, kind of like sunglasses. They stand out like a light bulb in the dark, and that's how they recognize their own kind.
That gives me an idea for...
My Great Challenge!
I have here with me Jeremy. I'm going to call you a squigglefish.
Yeah!
And Molly, I'm going to call you a splatfish.
Yes!
You each have different hidden patterns on your arms that you can only see with these black lights.
That's kind of like using the special eyes that some fish have for finding the hidden reflecting colors of their mates. You get to do almost the same thing in this challenge. Use your black light to find the bioluminescent fish with your pattern on it. Oh yeah, and some fish have no pattern at all, just to trick you.
Your challenge is to find as many fish of your own kind as you can in 2 minutes and take them back to your home base right here. Are you ready?
Yeah!
Then go find your fishy matches. The one who gets the most fish wins.
Squigglefish found a pattern right away, but it's Splatfish's pattern.
I keep on finding them that don't match.
Splatfish looking for a pattern. Yes, it checks out. That's one for Splatfish, but Squigglefish has one too. And Squiggle gets another right away. That puts him in the lead, 2-1. Squiggle looking for another match and finding it. Get moving, Splatfish.
So far, Squigglefish has 3.
And Splatfish catching up now with 2. Splatfish gets another one, but so does Squigglefish. The deeper you go in the ocean, the bluer and darker it is. That's why bioluminescence is amazing. Animals that can make these colors and patterns light up brightly can use them to see each other in the dark, avoid predators that can't see them, and find a mate to have babies with. Only 10 seconds left!
Can't find any more.
Can Splatfish catch up? Oh no, this fish has no pattern. It's not bioluminescent. Splatfish is wasting her time.
Okay, guys, time's up. So, Molly, you have 5 points.
Yay.
And Jeremy, you have 6 points.
Yes!
So you win. And now, time for a blackout party.
This is almost as much fun as this question from Andeline.
Why does a comet have a glowing tail?
Flat Earth Corner! No. This is a terrible sign. That devil star will bring us nothing but earthquakes and plagues of sickness. The rain will turn red with blood, and animals will be born with 2 heads. Run for your lives!
And while you run for your life, do it in style with these Devil Comet t-shirts and buttons. Or
Commemorate the end of the world with a pendant.
I've got every souvenir for the Comet apocalypse at low, low prices.
Pretty much every ancient culture in the world dreaded seeing a comet in the night sky.
I found out that they thought the comets were sent by gods to bring war, illness, and destruction, and every bad thing you could imagine.
Luckily, thanks to science, we know a lot more about them now. In fact, I've got some experts who are going to help answer your question, Andeline.
Please welcome astrophysicists from the McGill Space Institute, Robert and Gabrielle.
Hi, Zoe.
Hi, Zoe.
Hi. Wow, what is this?
This is dry ice.
We're going to use it in a minute to make comets.
Cool.
It's actually extremely cold.
Wow.
Okay, so here are all the ingredients we need to make our very own comet.
Like a comet cake mix.
But I certainly wouldn't want to eat these cakes.
Most comets have dirt and they have dust in them. So we're gonna use the sand here and the dirt and we're gonna mix it in the bag. And you can do the same with the dirt now.
So we mostly think of comets as dirty snowballs in space. So we already have the dirty part, but for the snowball bit, we're gonna use some water. So now we have pretty much a mud pie. Now we need to make it into a comet. We're going to use the dry ice we found earlier to freeze our comet. Then we don't want to freeze our hands. We have some mittens to put on. So I'm just going to add a few scoops of this. There we go, and one more for good measure. Okay, so do you want to push that all to one side of the bag?
I can help. We can take the comet out of the bag and look at it.
Wow, it looks like an ugly snowball.
And that's exactly what comets look like when they're really far away from the sun.
So, how does it light up?
If you were to blow on the comet,
Wow.
You see, it's producing a tail.
that's just like what happens when a comet gets close to the sun. It starts to melt, and it leaves behind a big, long vapor trail. The sun pushes the vapor trail away from the comet and gives us the big tail we see in the sky.
Oh, so the comet's tail always points away from the sun. But what makes it light up?
It just reflects the light of the sun.
Oh, I get it. It's the same way the moon shines.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for being on my show.
Thanks for having us.
I have another question from Andrea about lights we see in the sky. Why is lightning so bright? I checked, and I found out that the big flash of light is created by electricity that builds up in the clouds. It's kind of like what happens when your socks stick together when they're tumbled up in the dryer, and you try to pull them apart. They zap. Check out this cartoon I made. Tiny pieces of ice form high up in the sky, where it's really cold. These ice crystals turn around in the wind, and they bump against water droplets and other ice crystals. As they rub and bump into each other, they build up an electrical charge. Eventually, the charge builds and builds to form a gigantic spark. The lightning's bright flash comes from that spark. Did you know that a bolt of lightning can give off as much light as almost 17 million light bulbs at once? That's a lot of light bulbs! Uh-oh, do try this at home! Emerald and Linnea are going to show you how to make your own mini lightning with just a balloon and a spoon. Here's what you do. Rub the balloon on your hair till it gets good and staticky. You'll know it's ready when your hair stands up and sticks to the balloon. I think it's ready. Then in the dark, bring a spoon close to the balloon. Oh, there's a little spark. Wow, did you see that? It's tiny lightning. Bye, Zoe. Nature has some cool ways to make light. What about us humans? Here's a question from Andrew.
How did people see in the dark when there was no light?
Tired of dark when day goes away? Try new fire stick. It light up your life. Invention need work.
The first thing humans used for light was fire. But it's dangerous and burns out really quickly. But I found out that eventually we learned how to make it burn slower. We burned moss soaked in animal fat, which led to the first oil lamp. After that, we made candles out of wax. But when we figured out how to capture and control nature's electricity, everything changed. This is a perfect time for Sophia's question. How do you make a light bulb? How do I make a light bulb? Ding! I asked my scientist friend, Shakib, along with Daniele and Andrea. He knows how Thomas Edison made the first really useful light bulb back in 1879.
It's important to do this with an adult because it can get a little bit dangerous. Andrea here is going to help me, so what I need you to do is take this toilet paper roll, tape my 2 alligator clips to the side of that. And Daniele, I'm going to have you use our thin piece of filament here, which is actually a piece of picture wire, and attach it onto our alligator clips. And now I want you to cover it with this jam jar that I cleaned out earlier. The last thing we'll need is some electricity to send through the filament so that it glows. I have a battery pack here. I'm going to connect. What do you guys see?
Fire, light and burning.
Yes, we made a light bulb.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Uh-oh.
Wow, did you guys see that?
Yes, it just burned.
The filament's completely gone, but we do have a way to make the filament last longer. What's in the jar, you guys?
Air.
Very good. So if we remove the air from the jar, we can actually make our filament last a little bit longer and have a better light bulb. If we've got a candle here, put that in here, and we have to attach a new filament. And what we're going to do with our candle is light it. So a candle requires a couple things to burn. Of course, it needs the fuel, which is the wax that we have in the candle, but it also needs air or oxygen to burn. If we use the jar and we cover our candle, what will end up happening is we won't have any oxygen left. Can you see that the candle flame starts to get a little dimmer?
Yeah.
And then it goes out and we get a nice puff of smoke. So then we know there's no oxygen left inside our jar. And I'll just connect the other clip here. And look, this time it lights up, but it doesn't burn because there's no oxygen inside. Edison tried a whole bunch of different filaments for his light bulbs, but it wasn't until he removed the air and created a vacuum inside that he invented the electric light bulb.
And the rest is history. That was an awesome experiment. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Well, when it comes to lighting up from fire to fish that glow, nature's had it figured out from eons long ago. But when we use our brainy minds to follow nature's lead, we use the things around us to create the light we need. Oh, we made oil lamps and torches, fireworks and candles, lanterns, light bulbs, luminescent lights on our bike handles, neon signs, glow sticks, laser shows and movies, traffic lights, just lightning things. These flashy shoes are groovy. There's headlamps, pyrotechnics, lit up fair rides, computer screens, holiday lights, lighthouses.
You're gonna make my head explode! Phew! We've harnessed light to do so many amazing and silly things. But I still can't get my own butt to glow like fireflies. No fair! And that brings us back to the question that started off the show. If fireflies glow in the dark, why can't we? The big answer is... we actually do. Well, not enough to see with our eyes. Only just a tiny, tiny amount. I found out that all living creatures give off a very small amount of light because of the activities of our cells. We humans have never been able to make our own light on purpose, though, the way cave worms and deep-sea fish do. That's because we don't live in constant darkness. But we were smart enough to figure out how to make the light we need with stuff we found in nature. Which means...
Hi, and welcome to Finding Stuff Out, the show where I answer... I have an itch. I can't reach it. I know exactly what will help. Spaceship. That's not it. Mr. Snugglesworth, I've been looking all over for you. I mean, I'm saving him for research. Ah, here it is. Ah, my trusty back scratcher. Now I can finally reach the itch. It's like having really long fingernails. Anyway, like I was saying, welcome to Finding Stuff Out, the show where you send in your questions and I find out the answers. I've been thinking about fingernails lately because of this question.
what would happen if you never cut your fingernails? Would they keep on growing forever?
Yeah, imagine if they did. I'd be able to reach the itch on my back and look like a vampire on Halloween. I am Count Harrison. I have come... Hey, is that an olive on my fingernail? Gross. Now, I don't know if our fingernails will grow forever, but by the end of the show, I'll find out the answer. And all kinds of things about how our bodies grow and change. Now, here's a question from Rivian.
How do we grow?
This is a water-expandable dinosaur. Check this out. I thought about what would happen in a swimming pool if just adding water worked for humans. Check out this animation I made. Luckily for pools, we don't grow like that. A human starts out as a tiny embryo inside her mother, then grows into a baby, becomes a child, and then finally develops into an adult. Lots of animals do that. But how? I checked, and growing happens because of two things. One, the genes that you inherit from your parents. Every cell in our body has genes that we get from both of our parents.
Genes carry the information that gives us our special traits, like the color of our hair and skin, and our height. So there's not much you can do about that. 2, there is something you can do. Eat nutritious food and exercise. That will help you grow and regrow cells. Hey, so if I ate all the celery, would that be diet or exercise? Anyway, here's a question from Kira.
Why do we stop growing?
If we didn't stop growing, we'd hit our heads on the ceiling, go through the roof, bump our heads on trees, and smash into the moon. I guess it's a good thing that we stopped growing at some point, but I'm not exactly sure why it happens. I read that newborn babies grow 1 to 1.5 inches per month. Okay, if a baby grows that fast, then according to my calculations, it would be 44 inches when it's 2 years old, 56 inches when it's 3 years old, and wait a second, 14 feet when it's 9. What? Ah! You're gonna make my head explode. To answer your question, Kira, please welcome my special guest, Dr. John Mitchell. Oh, that is one scary dude.
Hi, Harrison. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to my show.
Thank you.
So, can you tell me why we stopped growing?
Well, if we continue to grow at the rate that we did as a baby, which, as you mentioned before, is about 1 inch every month, we would grow, well, as big as a whale, really.
Hey, baby, get your own sea aquarium.
Yeah, why doesn't that happen?
Well, it's interesting. We start off growing very fast, but if we look at our bones, and this is an X-ray of a small baby's hand, we can see that it's got all the bones that we see here, but we can't see all the bones very well.
Dr. Mitchell compares the X-ray picture of a baby's hand to a grown-up hand, like the one on the skeleton. That's an X-ray of a grown-up hand. And that's the baby's hand. There's lots more space between the bones. And check out the fingers. There are big bones and tiny bones. I found out from Dr. Mitchell that as we grow older, the tiny bones and the big bones join together and the space between them disappears.
As a baby, we have about 270 bones, but as adults, we only have 206 bones.
Oh.
It's not really the fact that we're losing bones, but as we mature, those bones will fuse together. Where this is really important is our skull. If we look at a skull, we can see that there's sutures in a skull, and that's actually caused from bones fusing together. We need lots of mobility in our skull early on because our brain is growing very fast.
Oh, that's why there's a soft spot in a baby's head.
That's right, but after a few years, our bones have fused in our skull because our brain is not growing as fast anymore.
I have a question from Alicia, and I think you can help find the answer for it, so let's check it out.
Do girls grow faster than boys?
So, Amanda and Christian, welcome to Finding Stuff Out.
Hi. How's it going?
Good. So, you're both 12 years old, but you're not the same size. So, does that mean girls grow faster than boys?
They do at some times during childhood, but they generally also mature faster. Now, boys continue to grow at a later age, and they finish growing later than girls.
Right.
And boys eventually will grow taller than girls on average.
That reminds me of a question from Alexander.
How tall will I be when I grow up?
Yeah. Is there a way to figure that out, Dr. John?
Well, actually, there's a formula that can help us estimate our final adult height. It's not totally accurate, but we can use it for predicting our height.
That sounds perfect for this week's... Uh-oh, do try this at home. So this is Dr. John's formula. As you can see, you do your dad's height plus your mom's height, and if you're a boy, you add 5 inches, and if you're a girl, you subtract 5 inches. Then you divide the whole thing by 2. So my mom is 60 inches, plus my dad's height, he is 69 inches, plus 5 inches because I'm a boy, and then you divide that whole thing by 2. So according to this calculation, I'm going to be 5 foot 7 inches.
However, if you've got all the short genes in your family or all the tall genes, you could be plus or minus 4 inches from there. So anywhere from about 5'3" to about 5'11".
Okay, so what are your results?
67.
So that's approximately 5'7". How tall are you now?
5'8".
5'8". So we see already you've probably got some of your parents' taller genes.
Wow. And what about you, Christian?
I got 65.
65 inches, so that's 5'5".
Exactly. How tall are you now?
4'8".
So we would expect on average that we would reach up to 5'5". You got a little bit more room to grow.
Wow.
Will I grow taller or I will stay this height forever?
Generally, girls will continue to grow approximately 2 years after they finish their puberty. So if you haven't finished with your puberty yet, you're going to still continue to grow.
So that means I'll be taller?
I don't give exact predictions, but I could say right now that you're going to be taller than you are.
There's one main thing that I find cool about this. It's cool, basically. That's all I have to say about this. This is like cool.
Well, thanks, Dr. John, for being on my show.
No problem. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, and Amanda and Christian, I'll see you guys later.
All right.
But sometimes you can't predict how tall you're going to be by looking at your parents.
Who's the tallest person in the world and who's the shortest person in the world?
I checked, and the tallest person in the world is a man named Sultan Kozin. Oh, hey, he's 253 centimeters tall. That's 8 feet 3 inches. Oh. I also checked and found out that the shortest person in the world is a man named Chandra Bahadur Dangi. Oh, hey, he's 55 centimeters tall. That's 21.5 inches. Both of their parents were normal height, so that just goes to show that formula isn't always right. Yeah.
How can I make myself grow taller?
The Flat Earth Corner! Step right up and take one sip of this here elixir, and you'll be instantly a good 4 feet taller. It'll get rid of warts, too. Oh, and I also have this handy-dandy neck-stretching contraption in the back of my wagon. 1 second, I'll go grab it. Oh, oh, steady now. Oh, Once upon a time, people thought you could use elixirs or stretching machines to grow taller. Nowadays, we know better. In 1850, the average North American man stood about 5 feet 7 inches and weighed about 146 pounds. By the 1980s, the average North American man stood about 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighed about 174 pounds. What was the big difference? Diet. In the 1850s, lots of people couldn't afford or couldn't get things like meat and fresh milk, which help your bones and muscles grow. But by the 1980s, it became a lot easier for most people to get good food. Healthy food costs less now than it did in 1850, and it's way easier to find. Exercise helps you build muscles too. And getting lots of sleep is important too, because when you're asleep, your body releases hormones that help you grow. Lucky for us, when we grow, our skin grows along with our body. Some animals don't have it so easy. Here's a question from Tefania.
How do snakes shed their skin?
To answer your question, Tefania, he knows about things that are scaly and wriggly, cold-blooded and wiggly. Here's Pat Benatar.
Hey, Harrison, check this skin out.
Whoever that belongs to needs to try a gentler exfoliant. Thanks for coming on my show, Pat.
It's my pleasure.
So, the snake's skin is here, but what happened to the rest of the snake?
Actually, I have it right down here. I'm just gonna pull it out and show you. This is a boa constrictor. And here she is.
Whoa, the skin is there, but the snake is there.
It grew out of its skin, basically. And snakes, when they grow out of their skin, they grow a new skin underneath, and they slide out of the old skin.
Tefania, I found out from Pat that to shed its skin, a snake rubs its nose against hard things like rocks. So its skin starts to separate from its head. And then it just crawls out. So why does it do that?
Well, it's part of it is that it's outgrown the skin, and part of it is that it's actually worn the skin out.
This thing is heavy. Can you take it back now?
Sure, not a
Before
problem.
I fall over here.
It's a big one. She's over 40 pounds.
40 pounds, wow.
But also, if there's any parasites on the old skin, all those parasites come off with it.
Parasites are tiny bugs that suck a snake's blood. Same as what fleas do on a dog or a cat.
I brought something really cool. It's actually a fire salamander. This is Salem.
That's a salamander.
That's a salamander, yeah.
Oh, I heard that they can grow back their legs and their tails if they lose them.
It's an amazing thing, yeah. If it gets its arm bitten off or a leg bitten off, it'll grow back the arm, digits, and everything.
That's awesome.
Would you like to hold them, Harrison?
Sure. Oh, it's like wet and slimy. Oh, it's so weird. Well, thanks, Pat, for being on my show, and Storm, and Sally, of course.
Well, thanks for having me, Harrison. It's been a pleasure.
Why do seniors get wrinkles?
To answer your question, Priscilla, I decided to go to a place that can make me grow up really fast.
And here to turn me into a senior citizen is Stan Edmonds, head of makeup design for film and television here at Vancouver Film School. Hey.
Welcome, Harrison.
So why do people get wrinkles?
Well, there's a lot to talk about regarding that, and why don't you sit down? We got a few hours to go over it.
Sure.
A few days ago, I went to the film school, and they put goop all over my head and hands, which hardened into a cast. Then they poured rubbery stuff inside the cast to make fake skin that fit my face and hands perfectly. Stan tells me that aging has a lot to do with gravity.
Well, as people age, sometimes you gain a little bit of weight as you get older, and so the weight of the sides of your face and your neck will start to droop, just with the force of gravity.
So if I lived my life upside down like a bat, then I wouldn't get wrinkles, right?
Can you imagine living upside down? You'd have a head full of dizziness.
As you grow older, your skin loses its elasticity and has less spring to snap back into place so wrinkles can form. Ultraviolet rays from the sun also give you wrinkles.
Kids don't get wrinkles for a while because they haven't been in the sun, they're young, their faces haven't moved and aged and weathered.
So what can I do to prevent getting wrinkles and deteriorating?
What you can do is drink lots of water. That's the #1 health and beauty secret.
Oh.
Use moisturizer and use sunscreen when you're in the sun.
And now, for the crowning touch, boys and girls, the senior version of me.
It's time for the big reveal. Oh, I'm bald and bald. I look kind of like my grandpa.
You look like my grandfather.
Really? I am your grandfather.
Why are butterflies first a caterpillar?
Well, Emma, that can best be answered with a song. Life cycle, metamorphosis. Sometimes something else before it's what it is. Transformation, alteration, wait and you will see what turns into a butterfly and what it used to be. An embryo, a larva, a pupa, imago. All stages of the same creature so different as they grow. Yeah. Life cycle, metamorphosis. Sometimes something else before it's what it is. Caterpillars aren't the only creatures that change their form, which leads us to... My Great Challenge! So now I am rejoined by Christian. Yeah! And Amanda.
Hi.
Are you ready to take my Great Challenge?
Of course.
Okay, good stuff. Because on today's Great Challenge, you guys have to match the picture of the baby form of an animal to the adult animal. Whoever gets the most correct answers at the end of it will be the winner. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. So there's the baby animal. Is it A, a leopard, B, a cheetah, or C, a hyena? What do you think it is?
B.
B, a cheetah? That is correct. There we go. When it grows up, it's going to be fast. Grown-up cheetahs can accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.4 seconds. That's as fast as a sports car. There's the baby animal. Is it A, an eel,
B, a salamander, or C, a frog? Okay, so Christian got it first.
I think it's A.
You think it's A? That's incorrect. What do you think?
C.
C is a frog. That's correct.
Yeah. I'm beating you.
Adult frogs can live on land, but the land must be near a pond, swamp, or another wet place. They lay their eggs in the water, and that's where they hatch.
There's the baby animal.
Is it A, a swan, B, a duck, or C, a goose?
I think it's B.
You think it's B? You would be incorrect. Amanda, do you have a?
C.
C is also incorrect, so it is actually A. It was a swan.
Swans' necks grow to be very long. It helps them reach food underwater.
And there we go.
Is it A, a caterpillar, B, a ladybug, or C, a monarch butterfly?
Christian.
I think it is B.
B, you're correct. There we go.
Yay!
Some say they resemble alligators, and they have an appetite like an alligator, too. Fortunately, ladybug larvae like to eat the bugs that eat the plants that we like to eat. So they're a big help to us.
Here's our baby animal.
Is it A, an emu, B, a kiwi, or C, a penguin?
C.
C, you're correct. There we go.
Penguin.
The emperor penguin grows the largest of any penguin species. They weigh up to 40 kilos.
Okay, so here's the last one. There it is.
Is it A, a chihuahua, B, a guinea pig, or C, a rabbit?
Christian was first.
Let me see. C.
C, it is not a rabbit.
A.
A, yeah, it is a chihuahua. There we go.
A chihuahua is the smallest dog in the world in both weight and height.
So the points are 4 for Amanda and 1 for Christian. Amanda, you're the winner. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thumbs your fist. Bro fist.
This growth and change journey has led me back to the original question.
What would happen if you never cut your fingernails? Would they keep on growing forever?
The big answer is... Well, Trayson, that's one thing that would happen if you never cut your fingernails. You couldn't play drums. Fingernails grow at an average of 3 millimeters a month, so it would take a really long time. But if you're patient, you can grow really long fingernails, like this.
That's the longest anybody's ever grown their nails, about 89 centimeters. I can't imagine what they'd come in handy for, especially because real fingernails become curly when they get that long.
But if you don't cut them, they'll keep growing and growing and growing and growing and... You get it. Anyway, before I go, Mr. Snugglesworth, didn't you say you had an itchy back? Mr. Snugglesworth, these are fake. You know I could take them off. Mr. Snugglesworth, I told you you were for research, but that was a joke, you know, right? Anyway, it doesn't really matter because I don't need Mr. Snugglesworth anymore. See you next time for more Finding Stuff Out. Mr. Snugglesworth, where are you? Come back.
I missed again. I really have to work on my aim. This is my little robot, Roland. He finishes the job for me. I'm controlling him like he's my little robotic assistant. Mwahaha! I am the puppet master, and you will do as I say. Controlling a robot like this is really handy. But what if it was attached to my body?
I found out that people can get artificial body parts if they were born without an arm, or a leg, or lost one in an accident, or because of illness. They're called prosthetics.
But I don't think they're robots like Roland.
No way.
This question from Jada is what got me thinking.
Do prosthetics make you bionic?
Bionic? You mean like having superpowers? I'd love to be bionic. Wouldn't you?
Cool!
Not to worry, Captain. I gotcha.
I'm stronger, faster, super bionic Zoe!
Jada, I'm not sure prosthetics give us super bionic powers, but I promise to use my super finding stuff out powers to get the answer. I'll start with this question from Massimo.
How does it feel to get prosthetic limbs?
To answer that, I have a special guest today. Her name is Megan, so please say hey. Welcome to my show.
Hi, Zoe. I can answer all your questions by showing you my prosthetic legs.
Oh, you have 2 prosthetic legs, but you walk so well.
Nothing stops me.
When did you get your prosthetics?
When I was 2, I got a sickness called meningitis, and I had to amputate my 2 legs and 9 fingers. A year later, when I was 3, I got my prosthetic legs. It hurt at first, but once I got comfortable, I was actually proud.
Here's something Tristan wants to know.
Does a prosthetic hurt?
Yeah, does a prosthetic hurt?
No, because it's fitted for me. If there's anything that actually hurts, they can switch it around.
Are there any sports or things you can't do because of your prosthetics?
My prosthetic legs don't stop me from doing anything. They help me do things. My favorite sports are basketball and snowboard.
What other sports and activities do you do?
I kneeboard. I go on tubing. I have a bicycle fitted for me.
That's cool. I see you have other prosthetics here.
Yeah, for the past year, I've been wanting to wear high heels, but I couldn't because my regular prosthetic legs don't bend at the ankle. And we got these made that actually bend at the ankle.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I love your nail.
Thank you. It's my only nail. I like to take care of it.
Is it hard to do other things without your 9 other fingers?
Well, I can text as fast as my friends can.
That was fast. Do you have superpowers?
No, I just get used to doing things my own way.
Well, thanks for helping me find stuff out, Megan.
No problem. It was fun.
Yeah.
The experiment!
We're really lucky to have prosthetics to help people. My friends try to make one with straws. Hi, Andalyn and Nicholas.
Hi, Zoe.
I know you can't make real prosthetics like the ones Megan has.
Right, but we can make a cool robotic hand using stuff from around the house.
Go for it.
We're gonna use 5 bendy straws, 1 for each finger, to make a hand and tape them together.
What's next?
Now we're gonna make little marks for the knuckles. Now we bend them at the knuckles.
Make a little cut in the corner.
Now we put the string through the straws.
And tie a knot at the top. Zoe, check this out.
It's pretty basic, but it works.
The strings are kind of like muscles that make a regular hand move. Thanks, guys.
Bye, Zoe.
That gives me an idea for...
My Great Challenge!
Today's challengers are Nora.
Hi.
And Dina. How do you like your new homemade prosthetics?
They're cool.
Not fashionable. Today's challenge is like getting ready for school, except while using your prosthetics. You have to pour some water,
Make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and take a bite.
and put your notebook and pen in your bag. Sound easy?
No.
Simple. There's more.
What?
You have to put your jacket on and then come to this table and write your name in your notebook. Oh, and it's a race. First person to finish wins. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, go!
First step, spread peanut butter and jelly to make the sandwiches.
Looks like you're having a little bit of trouble there.
It's not easy holding a spoon with homemade prosthetics, is it?
No.
They each have to take 1 bite of their sandwich and have 1 sip of water.
This is gonna be tasty.
Dina's ready to bite into her sandwich. Done. I guess she doesn't like peanut butter. Nora's having a hard time getting the peanut butter out of that jar. But Dina's struggling with her glass. There's the peanut butter.
Beautiful.
And there's the jelly. Dina's got her straw, but Nora's got her sandwich made. Dina takes her sip And Nora's catching up. Ready for school. Now they've got to pack their bags and put their jackets on.
Keep going, guys.
Ocean, my jacket. After a slow start, Nora's caught up. They're so close. But Nora's having trouble getting her coat off the rack. Dina's got her arm in. She's getting ahead again. But Nora's not far behind. Uh-oh. Dina can't get her second arm in.
Oh, no.
Nora's got her jacket on.
Dina's having a little bit of trouble over there.
Oh my goodness, my sleeve.
Keep going, Dina.
Shoot. Yes. Way to go, Dina. Now get out your notebook and write your name. Nora's getting ahead.
Dina, I like the technique.
Oh no. Shoot. Whoops. Pick up that notebook, Dina.
And
done. Oh no.
okay. Nora wins.
How do you put on a jacket?
So what was the hardest part?
Probably putting the jacket on and spreading the peanut butter on the toast.
Same with the jacket situation, but writing your name, seriously.
Well, our prosthetics were homemade, but I got this question from Amber.
What are prosthetics made of?
Flat Earth Corner! Crocodile eat your hand? Need new hand? Look no further than Blacksmith Bob's Best, the only shop with the best materials, the best tools, and the best replacement limbs in town. We forge each and every one in heavy, extra strong metal. Behold this iron hand. It does not bend, it does not flex, so it will never break. That's the beauty of iron. Get them while they're hot. Oh, it's fresh out of the forge! It's so hot! There was a time when prosthetics looked like pirate hooks, and they were made of metal that didn't even bend. I think it's really different today. To help me find out how prosthetics are made, I brought you special guests to come to my aid. Please welcome to my show, Nicholas Marchand and Carolyn Vio.
Hi, Zoe.
Hi, Nicholas and Carolyn.
We brought some prosthetics for you today, Zoe.
And I'm wearing mine. I won't squeeze you too hard.
You can squeeze harder?
Mm-hmm, I can.
That's a very firm handshake you got there.
Sure is.
These all look super cool, but Amber wants to know what these are made of.
All the new prostheses are made out of a black material called carbon fiber, the same material that we make race cars and jets out of.
This one looks a little bit old-fashioned. It's not the same as all the other ones.
This is my first prosthesis. I had it 40 years ago. You want to see how it works? This was a bit harder to use than nowadays prosthetic. So by pulling my shoulders forward, it pulls on the cable here and makes it open.
It kind of looks like a pirate hook.
You're right, Zoe.
But it seems like it must have been pretty hard to use.
And not that useful. So I chose not to wear a prosthesis for quite a while. And then I got into sports. And even though I could do anything with just one hand, I got some prosthetic made for sport, like this one. I used it to ski. It even got me to the Paralympics, where I got a gold medal.
Wow.
And I have other adapters. See? I just switch, and there I can go and play golf.
Wow.
I have another one for cross-country skiing, where the pole goes here and allows me to cross-country ski. This is for swimming.
Oh yeah, it kind of looks like a paddle. That's really cool.
Yeah, but today, prosthetic can do much more.
Like this one?
Yes, Zoe, that's what we call a myoelectric hand. Myo means muscle, and electric means it's powered by electricity. Your muscles on your arm generate a signal that in turn power the fingers of that hand.
What muscles make it move?
Let me show you.
I'm just flexing the muscles in my arm.
See how you close those fingers? Now close them fast. You're making those fingers work.
That's really cool. But
My hand is more than open and close.
That brings us to this hand. It's called the Quantum. It is the most advanced hand in the world for myoelectrics. And this hand actually allows you to choose from 35 different grips. If I wanted to hold a plate, I would activate the plate grip, whereby I can take the plate, put it right under the thumb, close down on the plate, hold it, and then bring it wherever I want.
That's really cool.
If you want to use a keyboard, you can use your finger to press a keyboard. So depending on what you want to do, you can make the hand choose that grip for you.
That's super cool. Here's a question I got from Olivia.
How come running blades don't look like real legs?
Yeah, how come they don't look like real legs?
Well, that's a good question. So most running legs work like a spring. This is a running leg that belongs to a boy. When that boy runs, he puts weight on the leg, it bends, and then bounces forward, pushing him forward.
So do blades like this give someone extra running power?
They don't give you extra running power. They only give you the power that you put in.
Well, that was awesome. Thanks for helping me find stuff out about prosthetics.
You're welcome, Zoe.
You're welcome.
Check this out. I found out that there's some really amazing technology out there for prosthetics. This artificial hand can actually feel things like a real hand. But this question from Antoine really made me think.
How do you survive without arms?
Uh-oh, do try this at home.
To get an idea of how hard it is to do simple things while missing an arm, try this. Try tying your shoe with one hand. It's really not easy. Okay, it's tight. Now I just have to make a bow. Almost got it. Oh, got it. Oh, finally. Surviving with no arms must be really tough. Prosthetics are super helpful, but I found out they can cost a lot of money, and people can't always afford them, especially in really poor countries. But I found out that today we can use 3D printers to make them. A 3D printer heats up stuff like plastic to build an object like the artificial hands these kids are wearing, made specially to fit their size. And because they're a lot less expensive than other prosthetics, it means that when kids grow, it's easier to have bigger ones made for them. These 3D limbs are changing lives for kids around the world who might have lost limbs because of war. Now, they can do lots of the same things other kids do. Hey, those prosthetics are really fun looking. Maybe I'd make myself an extra arm. Sweet. I wonder what my friends would want. Ask a friend. If you could add an extra part to your body, what would it be?
Wings, so I could fly.
It would be a robotic arm that could it could activate anything. Like if you want a pencil, it could just activate a pencil.
An arm that the hand, it shoots spider webs like Spider-Man.
Legs, so we can run really fast and always win a race.
Feet that could fly, so with jetpacks on the bottom.
Gills, so I could swim around and stay underwater for as long as I wanted.
Now here's a question from William.
Can animals have prosthetics?
Bionic. There's only one place to find out. At an animal hospital. Hi, Jean.
Hi, Zoe.
So, can animals have prosthetics?
Sure, like humans. I designed some myself.
Cool. Can I see one?
So this is Gypsy?
Hi, Gypsy. Do you have superpowers? Yes, you do. You're super cute. What happened to her leg?
Well, she's born with one leg shorter than the other one, so we made a prosthetic.
I like how it's pink. How long has she had it?
Almost 1 year. All right, now I'm going to take off the prosthetic device, okay? Just to check the leg. There you go. I'll take off the socks.
Is it a bit better now?
Right now, yes, because her leg was weak because she wasn't using it. Now that she is using it, it's much stronger. You have more muscle here.
That's great. Are there any other animals with prosthetics?
Absolutely.
It turns out that lots of different animals can get prosthetics if they need them. This duck lost her feet, and Réjean made prosthetic feet for her. He also helped out a bunny rabbit.
This is Daisy, and she got sick. And the back leg doesn't work anymore, so I designed kind of a wheelchair.
That's so cool. She's so cute.
Now she can walk without dragging her back leg. That was causing her a lot of problems.
That's amazing, Réjean. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Zoe.
You do physical therapy with animals?
I sure do. It helps them to adjust to their new prosthetics. We're gonna start with a little massage. It's gonna help to relax Gypsy's muscles. You're gonna make circular motions with your thumb all the way along her spinal muscles because they get tired from carrying her prosthetic. Go ahead.
Can I do it this way?
Sure. What's important is to not get on the bones, but to stay on the muscles. Gypsy seems to really be enjoying that.
This looks like an exercise ball I've seen before, but never shaped like this. It looks like a peanut.
It's shaped this way to be able to support a dog's body.
All these exercises help strengthen Gypsy's back.
Gypsy has a lot of pressure on her back by carrying this heavy prosthetic, so we need to make sure it stays good and strong for a long time.
She'll be stronger than ever after this. Thanks for helping me find out about animal prosthetics.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Gypsy. And here's a question I got from Rowan.
Could a person who's paralyzed walk with a prosthetic device?
I checked, and it's possible. There's a special suit called an exoskeleton that helps people who are paralyzed or have difficulty walking. It's kind of like a robot that you wear. Moving your weight a bit to one side makes the robotic leg on the other side take a step. There's another exosuit that anyone can wear. It helps people in construction or other physical jobs. With the exosuit, they can lift heavy things without tiring out their muscles as much or getting hurt. That seems almost like science fiction. Maybe I could have an exosuit that could let me time travel.
Wow! Nice T-Rex! Yeah, sure you can fly, but can you do this?
All this high-tech stuff has me wondering the same thing as Megan.
Can you control a prosthetic with your mind?
I found out you can. Scientists have been testing this amazing technology that lets a person with missing limbs move an artificial arm the way we use regular arms. By mind control. They're still working on it, but it's super cool. And guess what I've used mind control to do? Get the answer to Jada's question that started off today's show.
Do prosthetics make you bionic?
Well, Jada, the big answer is... yes, they do. I found out that bionic means using machines to help us do things, sometimes as a replacement body part. Prosthetics are like small machines that help people walk, ski like a champ, or throw a ball. So prosthetics make us bionic, but they don't give us any superpowers.
Huh? They don't?
Well, at least not yet, but maybe in the future.
I am future Zoe, I'm not far from today. The things I can do will blow your mind away. Everything you're dreaming, it is coming true. Swim like a fish, have super hearing too. X-ray vision, bionic eyes. Hey, I can see you ate a lot of French fries. Half human, half machine, a cyborg you could be. And fly so high that from the sky the whole world you would see. I am future Zoe, I'm not far from today, but I still have to clean my room and put my toys away. Come on, future me, let's get this done.
In the meantime, I have Roland to help me out. Thanks, Roland. See you next time for more Finding Stuff Out.
Hi, and welcome to Finding Stuff Out. I've been thinking about this globe lately because of a question from Kobe.
Why is the world so important?
Yeah, why is the world so important? Couldn't we and all the other creatures on Earth just get in a spaceship and go to another planet? Or a space station or something? I don't know if the Earth is really important, but by the end of the episode, I'll find out. Here's a question from Marion.
Why do polar bears don't live here?
Before I answer your question, Marion, I did some research, and here's a song that kind of sums it all up.
Habitat, that's where creatures living at. Some in the water, some in the trees, some in the desert, some in your jeans. Food and water, shelter, space, that's what you need to live in a place. Yeah, food and water, shelter, space, that's what you need to live in a place. Habitat. A creature's living at a habitat. A creature's living at a habitat. And many other things, a habitat.
Well, Marion, I guess you don't live in northern Ontario, or other northern parts of Canada, or Russia, or Norway, or Alaska, or Greenland, because polar bears definitely live there.
But I checked, and if brown bears live near you, then you could say the polar bear's cousins live near you. That's because polar bears and brown bears share a common ancestor. Just like if you have a cousin, you and your cousins have the same grandparents.
A really long time ago, polar bears' ancestors left the south, like where you live, Marion. Then, as they moved to the north, they adapted to the Arctic habitat.
The Arctic is very cold and has a lot of ice and water, so polar bears have a lot of body fat and heavy fur coats to keep them warm. They also have big feet, like paddles, to help them get around in the water and on the ice. Their fur is transparent. That means it's clear, so that they can blend in with the snow and ice and sneak up on their favorite food, seals.
In the cities and towns where most of us live, our habitat, polar bears wouldn't be able to find the things they need to live.
Please, anyone, where's a good seal restaurant?
Plus, it's too warm.
Ooh, lucky me!
Why can't penguins fly?
Well, Serena, for starters, a polar bear lives up here in the northern hemisphere. So if a penguin lived up here, he would have to learn to fly, or he'd be eaten by the polar bears. You look really tasty there, Mr. Penguin. Luckily for Mr. Penguin, he lives down here in the southern hemisphere.
You can't get me now!
Oh!
Penguins can't fly because they're too heavy. But in their habitat, that's actually an advantage. Their body fat protects them from the cold, and their bones are solid instead of hollow, which helps them stay underwater. Their wings act like giant flippers to help them swim fast so they can sneak up on their favorite food, fish.
Now here's a question from Aiden.
How many habitats are in the world?
How many habitats are in the world? Let's see, there's mountains, marshes, tidal pools, deserts, prairies, rainforests, and that's just some of them. There's even this grilled cheese sandwich, which I found in my drawer, and there's definitely something living on that. Hundreds of thousands of plants, 8 million species of animals, 7 continents, thousands of islands, air, water, land, head getting warm, brain overloading!
You're gonna make my head explode!
To answer your question, Aiden, I've come to this special place by the ocean, full of amazing creatures. And to help show me around is my special guest, Allison Roberts, who's a biologist and naturalist. So, Allie, today I'm trying to find the answer to the mind-boggling question, how many habitats are there? But first, what is a habitat?
Well, a habitat is basically anything a creature needs to survive. So it's the shelter, the space, the water. It can be tiny, like you'd need a microscope to see it. Or it can be gigantic, like the whole entire planet could be one habitat.
Whoa.
But you know what, today let's talk about kind of in between.
Okay.
Let's talk about the intertidal zone.
Intertidal zone? What's that?
Well, we're standing right in the middle of it.
Whoa.
Inter means between, and tidal,
Yeah.
between the tides.
Right.
So you need a place that's between the high tide, which would be way up there, and the lowest tide, way down there.
How many creatures are living here?
Well, there's tons of creatures living here, but they have to be pretty special creatures to survive.
A sand dollar. Too bad I can't spend it. Seaweed. People eat this stuff all the time.
Check out all these hermit crabs.
Whoa, there's tons. Oh, and look at the little small one.
Hermit crabs are pretty weird because they have a really soft shell, and so they have to find another shell to give them a home. Like this is a snail, but when that snail dies and the shell is left on the beach, another animal, the hermit crab, will move in. In the tide pool, even fish can survive.
Oh, weird.
But check out what this fish hides in.
Whoa, it's the same color as the seaweed.
Yeah, look at how many creatures there are in this tiny little space.
Yeah.
Millions of creatures in the intertidal zone.
Allison brought me to a habitat right next to the intertidal zone, the forest. So this habitat has everything that other animals need to survive, right?
Again, the forest is filled with millions of creatures that this is perfect habitat for.
So like these leaves or the twigs or the dirt or the trees or anything in this forest could be a habitat for a creature or an animal, right?
Yeah, everything's a habitat, but then all combined, it's also one habitat.
So it's like a habitat inside of a habitat, inside of a bigger habitat, inside of a bigger habitat, inside of a bigger habitat. Okay, I'm gonna stop before my head explodes here. Whoa, look at the shell. I should take it home.
Oh, but you have to remember, that shell is somebody's habitat.
Right, so I should leave it here.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere we go, some creatures, that's their habitat. So we have to respect each other's habitats.
And treat it like it's our own.
Exactly. Would you want somebody to pick up your house and walk away with it?
No. Well, thanks for helping me find stuff out and for showing me all these cool habitats.
No problem. Thanks for coming out and hanging out in my office.
Street Smarts.
Now I'm here with these guys to ask them if they could be any animal in any habitat, what would it be?
Fish in the ocean.
Cat in the volcano.
A shark in the ocean. Lice in somebody's hair. A rabbit in the forest. A snake on a beehive. A pterodactyl living in a tree.
Whoa! What does it look like?
I'll do this.
And I personally would be a copycat, living in a photocopier, because then I can photocopy everybody's photocopies.
That was a good one.
Some habitats can be very challenging. So today, I'm making some challenging environments in My Great Challenge. Welcome to My Great Challenge. Today, my great challengers are Kaylee, Nico, Jeremy, and Alana. So you two will be Team Polar Bear and you two will be Team Zebra. Have you ever gone to the Arctic?
No.
Well, today, you're going on a trip there, as well as to African savanna and an ocean tide pool. There are 5 spots for each habitat. You have to put a different animal on each spot in the habitat you think it belongs in. So you guys will have 2 minutes to complete this challenge. Team Zebra, you'll be first. Team Polar Bear, you guys can go downstairs and have some broccoli with my mom. Here are the animals that you can use. You have 2 minutes, starting now. Go!
I think this goes in the African jungle. I'm not sure, that looks like a sea monster. I think this goes here. Tiger fell. Like a polar bear. Does the rabbit go anywhere? The rabbit's cute. Why is there dinosaurs here? This goes in the African jungle. Goes. Kangaroo goes there too. Ew, it's sticky. Hey, is this an otter? Otter. Is this a wiener dog? Yeah. I like wiener dog. Hey, this goes over there, I think. Yeah. I'm not sure about this red fox if it goes in the Arctic. I don't know, maybe. Sea monster. Did the bees go anywhere? They're gonna sting you. I don't know, but I think put this button here. Okay, time's up. So here are your results. In the Arctic, you put 2 seals, but I asked for a different animal for each habitat. You could have put the other seal in the tide pool. They can live in both habitats. So that's 1 point gone, so you have 4 there. African savanna, there's no kangaroos there. Silly kangaroo. They live in Australia.
Yeah. In the ocean tide pool, there are no whales in the ocean tide pool. And also, there are 3 bees here because each bee can live in all these habitats.
I didn't want to put a bee. I don't like bees.
Okay, well now it's Team Polar Bear's turn. So you have 2 minutes, starting now.
No, wait.
The starfish. There.
Yeah, that's kind of obvious.
Put that there.
This probably goes in the savanna.
Yep. Go. What about this?
That?
It probably goes.
No, I think. Well, yeah, probably.
Savannah?
Yes, savanna. This might go in the savanna.
No.
We have some disagreement here on one of the animals.
Savannah?
Yes. Polar bear in the Arctic.
Oh, yeah, I guess I can put. What about the otter? That goes here.
Okay, whatever.
Otter with a fish in his hand.
Using some logic.
I think this goes in the savanna because when I did my presentation, he said this goes in the savanna.
Okay.
Last few seconds.
Savannah.
I think this might go in the Arctic because it's white.
5 seconds.
Put this there. Put this there.
3, 2, and time's up. So you guys had 3 wrong. Let's see how Team Polar Bear did. We have 2 right in the Arctic, but they didn't fill the other 3. The kangaroo in the savanna. Same thing as Team Zebra. It's not right. And the whale in the tide pool. That's also wrong. It's too big to live in the tide pool. They also got that one wrong. So you guys have 3, 4, 5 wrong. So Team Zebra is our winner.
Yeah!
Well, thanks for playing my great challenge.
Welcome.
Why don't dolphins live on land?
I checked, and what I found out is pretty amazing. At one time, dolphins, or at least their ancestors, did live on land. Some scientists think that certain fish got very ambitious and learned to adapt to a habitat that included land. They evolved legs and lungs so that they could live on land as easily as in the water. Scientists think that those creatures evolved into other creatures that like to eat meat. It made an interesting adaptation to its habitat. It discovered that hiding under the water where other animals came to drink was a good way to get a meal. While they were down there waiting, the creatures discovered something else tasty to eat there. Fish! Yum, yum. Over thousands and thousands of years, the creatures evolved to be even faster in the water, and eventually their feet turned into flippers, and some scientists think they evolved into the dolphins we know and love today. With their flippers, dolphins can't walk on land like their ancestors could, even though they still need to breathe air like we do. Excuse me, see you at the beach. Here's a question from Patrick.
Who killed the dinosaurs? A meteorite or a volcano?
Very interesting question. One day, while they were out for a walk,
oh, this habitat is great. There's lots of room and shelter. Have you tried the vegetation?
I have. It's very delicious, and the water is good too.
Harold, is that your stomach rumbling? You really shouldn't eat so fast.
No, it was not me.
Then what is that low rumbling sound? Oh, it's a volcano! Run! Run for it!
Was it a volcano, or was it
A meteorite!
To find out the answer, I've invited a special guest. He knows about extinction events and even where the dinosaurs went. Please welcome Dr. Hans Larson. Hi, Dr. Larson. Whoa! Ferns? Patrick was wondering if volcanoes or meteorites killed the dinosaurs, and you brought ferns. This is getting pretty weird.
A little like you.
So, Dr. Larson, you're not saying that the plants killed the dinosaurs, are you?
Well, the plants didn't kill the dinosaurs directly, but something killed the plants. For some hundred thousands of years before the dinosaurs went extinct, there was a supervolcano erupting in India. Like ginormous in size, lots and lots of eruptions going on.
So I guess the volcano spewed out a ton of ash and that covered the sky, right?
Well, and this was a supervolcano, like probably covering the sky for the whole planet.
Wow.
And that may have kind of primed or got things ready for an extinction by sort of cooling down the planet, making it a little bit dimmer. But then exactly 65.5 million years ago, a meteor the size of a large city crashed into the Yucatan Peninsula just off the shore of Mexico, made a crater 180 kilometers wide and about 80 kilometers deep.
So there's probably like smoke everywhere and everything?
Yeah, smoke, heat, earthquakes, shock waves all across the planet. And then it also lifted up everything into the sky. And so blocking out the light.
So there's no sun?
No sun.
But can't they just eat in the dark? Because the power went out at my house once and we still did that.
Yeah, but how many days?
Just for one.
Right, and so with this kind of stuff going on 65.5 million years ago, it probably lasted for many years, maybe 10,000 years of very little sunlight. So all the plants were decaying and molding and rotting. So these guys, you can throw them away.
No more plants, yeah, get rid of all the plants.
So after a few years of that, maybe even just a few weeks, all these guys, all the herbivores died, finished.
They're done.
Out.
And what about the carnivores? They could just eat each other, right?
Well, they could eat these guys too. They
That's
probably
true.
ate them for a little bit.
Right.
And after some months or maybe a couple of years of eating the carcasses, bloating, rotting carcasses of other dinosaurs, they probably fed on themselves too.
Right.
And then they went. So eventually we can put them all in the garbage.
So that's how the dinosaurs went then.
Probably.
I hope a meteor isn't coming for us.
Well, the next one's scheduled to be here in 14 million years.
14 million years, so I think we're safe.
For now.
Okay, thanks for being on my show.
My pleasure.
Thinking about dinosaur habitats gives me an idea for... Uh-oh, do try this at home. Hey everybody, how you doing? Not too hot, not too cold? Enough food, shelter, water, space? Cause it's time to play How's Your Habitat? Today, your challenge is to figure out what we humans need in our habitat to survive. So let's get right to it. Here's your first clue. If you said water, you're right. You can reward yourself with a nice cold glass of drinking water. But don't, because if you do, you'll miss my next question. It's got you surrounded, but you can walk right through it. What is it? Are you ready? Because if you guessed air, you're right. We breathe oxygen, and unlike most fish, we get ours from the air. Okay, next question. You can't choose not to have this one in your habitat if you want to survive for long. I'd give you a bigger clue, but it's not polite to talk with your mouth full. Get it? The answer is food! This one's got my name written all over it. Next question. It's something that lets you do this. If you guessed having itchy powder in your pants, you're wrong. Although itchy powder would make you flap around like that. But nobody needs itchy powder in their habitat. If you can do what I just did without bashing into anyone, you've got space! Okay, last question. Even if you're living under a rock, you have this. And no, I don't mean 6 legs. Unless you're a beetle, then you do need them. I'm talking about shelter! Yeah! That's a roof over your head. A place that keeps the wind, rain, and snow off of you and keeps you from getting too hot or too cold. And now, here's a question from Rivian.
Why do people pollute the earth when it isn't good for the earth?
Well, Rivian, your question takes me to... the Flat Earth Corner! Step right up, folks. Take everything you need. Why, this world is so big, we can't possibly use everything up. And don't worry about the forest. There's so much land out there, the animals can find someplace else to live. Chocolate! Bye, bye, bye! Bye-bye. For most of the time people have been on Earth, we thought there were no limits. We thought we could take as much as we wanted from the Earth and just throw things away. In the past, there weren't nearly as many people as there are now, so we could get away with it. We kind of polluted the Earth because it was easier than not polluting it. Sort of like the way it's easier to not clean your bedroom until you can't find anything you're looking for. Before, we didn't know any better, but now we realize that we can't keep doing that. Which leads me back to the question that began this trip.
Why is the world so important?
The Earth has the habitats that provide all the different basic needs of people, plants, and animals. Water, sunlight, food, space, and shelter. We don't know one other place in the universe that does that. Plus, we're already here. How lucky is that? Wow, Earth. Now I know why you're so important to us. Thanks for watching Finding Stuff Out. See you next time. I'm gonna take good care of you. Ooh, that was a close one.